Hello and welcome to another video from Minus Touch Toys, Games, Collectibles. And today, well, we're looking at something that's now quite old, has become incredibly collectible, and is becoming more and more difficult to find, especially in this mint unopened condition. We are looking at the 1997 release by Kenner from their Star Wars Cinema Scenes series of action figure box sets. And this particular set we're looking at today is of the purchase of the Droids, which is all based on the scene from the original Star Wars movie, or otherwise known as Star Wars A New Hope, as it became known as. Now, obviously we all know the Star Wars original trilogy was a space opera produced and created by George Lucas, and it was produced by Lucasfilms and distributed by 20th Century Fox. It consisted of Star Wars, or later to be known Star Wars A New Hope, The Empire Strikes Back, and The Return of the Jedi. Now, this original trilogy now serves as the second act in the 9-episode Skywalker saga, as it's now collectively become. I think it was 16 years after The Empire Strikes Back, the prequel trilogy was released between 1999 and 2005, and that was The Phantom Menace, Attack of the Clones, and The Revenge of the Sith. And then, of course, as we all know, the sequel trilogy, which was between 2015 and 2019, and that was The Force Awakens, The Last Jedi, and The Rise of Skywalker, and collectively they are now referred to as the Skywalker saga. Now, the films centre on the Galactic Civil War, which is broken out between the Rebel Alliance and the Galactic Empire, as well of our hero's journey, which is of Luke Skywalker in his quest to become a Jedi under the guidance of exiled Jedi Master Obi-Wan Kenobi, and of course in The Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi under the guidance of Yoda. Now, Luke Skywalker, he joins forces with Princess Leia, Han Solo, Chewbacca, C-3PO and R2-D2, and the Rebel Alliance get together and they face the Empire and the evil Sith Lord Darth Vader. So the first film, Star Wars, aired or was premiered on 25th of May 1977. The Empire Strikes Back premiered on May the 21st, 1980, and The Return of the Jedi premiered on May 25th, 1983. The combined budget for the three movies, episodes 4, 5 and 6, or the original trilogy, was $76.5 million, and at the box office it has taken $1.798 billion. So a massive profit margin there on those films. But anyway, this particular figure set we're looking at today is from one of those scenes from the first movie, the first Star Wars 1977 movie, which became known as A New Hope, and it is when Uncle Owen Lars and Luke Skywalker go to the purchase the droids. So it's where he purchases C-3PO and R2-D2, and this is that cinema scene that we're looking at today with those figures. Okay, so this is the box it comes in, and it says Star Wars The Power of the Force, purchase of the droids, and you've got the Galactic Empire and the Rebel Alliance logo there, not the Galactic Empire. And it says the Kenner collection, and it's item number 69778 from assortment number 69650, ages 4 and up. Okay, that's the front of the packet. Let's turn it around now, see what we've got printed on the back. Okay, so I'll turn the box around to the back, and this is what we've got on the back. So again, it says Star Wars The Power of the Force, and there's that cinema scene of Uncle Owen Lars Luke Skywalker as they're purchasing C-3PO, and just behind Luke and the Jawa is R2-D2. So it says Star Wars, the power of the Force, purchase of the droids. It says under attack by an Imperial Star Destroyer, protocol droid C-3PO and his partner R2-D2 safely escaped a battered rebel capital ship and landed on the desert jungle of Tatooine. Soon after, the droids were abducted by scavenging Jawas and sold to Owen Lars for use in his desert moisture farm. Luke Skywalker, nephew of Owen and Tatooine youth, remained unaware that his uncle's purchase of C-3PO and R2-D2 was to help launch one of the most pivotal destinations the galaxies had ever known. His own destinies, not destinations, destinies the galaxy had ever known, his own. Okay, so visit the official Star Wars website, and you've got www.starwars.com. It's to visit the Hasbro toy and game website, www.hasbro.com. You've got the Kinnear logo, copyright 1997, Lucasfilms, limited or rights reserved, and you've got the barcode at the bottom there. Okay, let's just have a look at the bottom of the box. And on the bottom of the box, if we just scroll out a little bit there, so you can see it says Star Wars, the power of the Force again. There's that cinema scene again. C-3PO, Luke Skywalker, and Uncle Owen Lars. And if we turn the box to the side, it got on there Star Wars, the power of the Force. Product and colours may vary, and the rest of that is in a different language. If we go around to the other side, what have we got on here? So again, it's got Star Wars, the power of the Force. The Force is with you in all of the Star Wars figures and vehicles. Collect all of these Star Wars action figures. So we have got the Snow Trooper, Luke Skywalker. We have got Grand Moff Tarkin. We have got Princess Leia, and we've got the Gamoran Guard. And if we go to the very top of the box, let's turn it around so we can read it. Again, it says Star Wars, the power of the Force, purchase of the droids, and you've got the Rebel Alliance logo at the top there. Okay, that's the box. Why don't we open the box and take the figures out? I don't think we're going to be able to separate them from the packaging, but let's get them out and let's have a look at them outside of the box and where we're not going to be hindered by light on the window. Okay, so I've removed the inner packaging from the box. Now I can't take the figures off because they are all strapped in. You do get this little piece of paper that comes in the box. It says join the official Star Wars fan club for only $19.99 for a 6-issue subscription, plus a bonus membership kit. Send check or postal order to PO Box blah 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 in USA. I'll call 1-800-TRUE-FAN. Okay, let's just move that out of the way. Okay, so this is the cinema scene. Now, I mean, it looks absolutely fabulous in actual fact. And if I was to zoom in on the cinema scene itself, I mean, that's what you will be looking at. So the scene where Uncle Lars is talking to one of the Jawas about purchasing C-3PO, and Luke Skywalker is standing there looking around, looking a bit bored in actual fact. So, but that's the scene, and that looks like a very, very good scene there. Because we've zoomed in on it, so we can't see the sides, and you can't see the bottom of the box. But generally, that's how I would display them. So I would take the figures, I would probably leave the figures onto the stand, because that is like a sandy area with stones on them. And I would have the back cinema scene in a scene in front of these 3 figures. Okay, let's go and have a look at Uncle Lars. So there is Uncle Lars. Let's just turn it around slightly so we can have a good look at his face. Well, I've got to say, I mean, overall it's not a bad likeness of Uncle Owen Lars from the original movie. It is a pretty good likeness, to be perfectly honest with you. Or is it perhaps that we just know that's what he looks like because of his beard and his hair and his bright blue eyes? Maybe, I don't know. But he's in his white robe with his almost like a Jedi shirt or Jedi cardigan, if you like, with a brown shirt underneath, brown trousers and dark brown boots, or dark brown trousers, sorry, and light brown boots. But he does look the part. He does look very, very good. Let's move around to C3PO. And now, C3PO, well, you can't really get C3PO wrong. However, the face is probably not the best I've seen on the C3PO figures. But overall, you can't get him wrong. His detailing is very good. And this was the time when he was pretty much dirty and worn out from being going through the desert, and also for being captured by the Jawas. He wasn't in the best of conditions. It was given the task for Luke to give him a clean him up in the bath and get him spick and span ready for the work. So that is C3PO, and I suppose he does look good for this particular scene. And then of course there we have Luke Skywalker. Now, I've always been disappointed with the facial features of Luke Skywalker on these 4-inch figures. Sorry, they're not the best, and this particular one isn't. Remember, we're going back not to 1997, so we are going back. What is that? Almost 40 years, 38 years since these. No, we're not. Sorry, 28 years. I beg your pardon. So it is. Quite some time has passed, and obviously technology has moved on so much more since then. But even so, the facial features of Luke Skywalker there, as portrayed by Mark Hamill, is quite poor, really. So yeah, a little bit disappointed with that. But other than that, you can tell it's Luke Skywalker, and he's in his white shirt, his grey trousers, and his dark grey boots, as he appeared in the episode. And he's got his belt on with his binoculars in the belt, which we see him use a few times during the movie, during that first episode. Okay, that's the 3 figures. Now, I think I want to have a look at the articulation, but let's get some sizes of them first. I'm just going to zoom right out. Because they're all let's measure C3PO, because he's one in the middle. So you're looking at, with just under 4 inches, about 3 3/4 inches, or otherwise 10 centimeters, and they're all pretty much the same size. Uncle Lars is a fraction taller, I think, but generally they're all about the same size. Width wise, 3PO is probably the widest, which will, if I had the ruler right around the right way, because of the way his arms are, we're looking at about 5 centimeters in width, and they're all about 2 centimeters deep. So that's the size of the figures. Articulation wise, well, this is what I want to look at, because the smaller figures, they don't really have great articulation on these early ones. So, and you can see the whole of Luke's arm there is flat, so it's all flat on the inside there. So, but the articulation, so Luke's got movable arms, but that's it, no hands, nothing else. His head moves. He's got, does his waist move? No movable waist, but he does have movable legs. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 points of articulation on Luke Skywalker, which is not the best. C3PO, I don't think is any better. So we got 1, 2, no, oh yeah, head moves, 3. You got slight movement on the body, and obviously the 2 legs go up and down. But again, it's really is just 5 points of articulation, and the only reason the body moves, I think, is because of the way it's designed, but I don't think it's supposed to. And Uncle Lars, well, Uncle Lars, again, the arms, the head, no waist movement. Oh, hang on, having said that, Uncle Lars' waist does move, so you can see that I'm moving his waist backwards and forwards, so he does actually waist move. I wonder if the others do then. And again, it's the tops of the legs. So Uncle Lars is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 points of articulation. Now, let's just have another look at Luke. Does his waist move? Ah, so Luke's waist moves as well. So we can see we've got movement there on Luke's waist. And that must mean that 3PO's does. Well, I can't seem to move 3PO's, but maybe it does, but I can't seem to get it to move. But the rest of them, they do have waist movement. So they are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 points of articulation. I'm guessing that 3PO's does also move the same way. So there we are. So that is the 3 figures. Now, as I said, I can't take it off of the plinth. They are still strapped on there, and that goes through the bottom and through this particular base, and they're all taped up on the back there again with the bands holding them into position. So that's the reason why I haven't taken them off, but it's not necessary that we do. And to be perfectly honest with you, I think they look absolutely fabulous standing on that display, and it makes for an absolute fabulous display. Now, I've got a few cinema scenes at home. I don't have this particular one, but I've got quite a few of the other cinema scenes at home, and I've done exactly that. I've kept the figures standing on the base. I've taken away the lower section, the lower section of the cardboard, this here, and I've taken away the sides and the top, and I've got that the cinema scene backdrop in front of the figures. So although I don't have this one, that's what I've got with the scenes that I do have in my display in my glass cabinet. So that's how I've displayed them, and I think they look absolutely fabulous. It'd be quite nice to actually have this one, add this one to the display at some point. I may well do that, but not today. Okay, how well did these figures do back in the day, I hear you ask? Well, I think at the point of these being released, they'd already released all of the individual figures under the power of the Force. I don't think any of these were exclusive to this set. Maybe Owen, he would have been the only one, if any, that would have been exclusive to this set. I don't remember seeing him separately. Maybe he was, I can't remember. I'm sure someone will put me straight if I'm wrong there, but I can't remember. Sometimes these packs had one unique figure in them. Obviously Luke Skywalker is available, C3PO is available, so the only one, I'm guessing it would have been Uncle Lars if any of these were exclusive. Now, it doesn't tell me that it's exclusive anywhere on the packaging or on the box, but then most of it is in it's in the European box, so most of it is in European different languages, so I can't read most of it. But I don't believe or perhaps if anything, it would only been the one. I'm not 100% sure on that. But anyway, so did they do well? Well, the figures have already been released separately, so most of the kids would have had all of these figures. Perhaps, as I say, perhaps maybe not Lars, but they would have had the rest of the figures. So it wouldn't have been a set that the adults would have bought for their kids. The cinema scene, well, it's really more for display purposes, so I'm guessing that these particular sets were more geared for collectors rather than kids to play with. So I don't think the quantities were as high as we expect, and I don't think they sold as well as what was expected them to do. I think they obviously take some of the figures, they've made these cinema scenes up, and they put them together thinking that they're going to be terrific sellers. Well, I'm sure they did sell a lot of them, but obviously compared to the individual figures, I don't think they sold what was expected for them to sell. Me personally, I think these are absolutely fantastic, but then I'm looking for the display rather than the playability of the figures. So, but I think this set is just an absolute marvelous display, same as all the other cinema scenes. I think they are fabulous. Okay, let's move forward to 2025. So we're going forward 28 years to where we are today. Do these come up for sale very often on the platforms? Well, not as often as they used to. If you went back 5 or 10 years, you would find a lot of these regularly appearing on the platforms. Nowadays, not so much. So I'm guessing that the collectors that wanted these particular sets would have bought them by now, and they would have had them in their collection, as I have in my collection. So they don't appear, don't get me wrong, they do come up, but not as often as you would like. Most of the ones I saw on the platforms have been opened, and some of them were or had the figures loose in them. There were some that was complete, as this particular one is not necessarily the same cinema scene. I'm talking about generally on these cinema scenes, but there was an awful lot of loose figures available. So if you just want the loose figures to add into your display, well, then you can find pretty much anything you like on the platforms. So if that's what you're looking for, something cheap and easy and a particular figure, then the platform is your best bet to try and find one. For me, it's all about condition, and they have to be pristine to be in my collection. So what I'm looking for is sets like this, which are pristine, unopened, and so the figures and the backdrop is all in mint condition. They can go in my display and join the rest of them in the same set condition. So to summarize, yes, they do appear on the platform semi-regularly, and they also appear very loose. However, do be careful on the platforms as usual. I'm going to tell you again, some people's idea of very good condition is some people's idea, it could be somebody else's idea of acceptable condition. There's a big scope of different opinions there between very good and acceptable. So do read the description, do look at the images, so you're not disappointed when the item actually arrives. And also on some of the other platforms, they use stock images and stock descriptions, so you could be looking at a mint set like this. However, there's no new ones available, so it automatically goes to the cheapest used item, and that could be loose figures only. So be aware, if it doesn't say new on the page and it says used, click that used link and read what you're about to order to prevent any disappointment when the items arrive. Now, it's not the fault of the seller, and it's also not the fault of the buyer. It's just the way those platforms were designed to work. Stupid if you ask me, but that's the way they're designed to work. And so you just have to use a little bit of common sense. Don't order unless you've actually looked whether it's new or used, and if it's used, click the used icon and read what it is you're about to order, and then that saves any disappointments, mix-ups, arguments afterwards. The alternative, you don't need to go through any of that rigmarole. You can come straight to us at Midas Touch Toys, Games, Collectibles, where what you see in front of you is exactly the item you would receive should you wish to order. And this particular item is no difference to that. Now, we have managed to find a good dozen or so different cinema scene sets, which were part of a shop buyout, which we did just after COVID. There was a sci-fi shop that shut its doors for the last time. And we were fortunate enough to be invited in to buy out all their stock, which we did do. And amongst that stock was, I think, around about 18, 19, 20 of these cinema scene box sets. And we are making them available to our customers on the Midas Touch website. And you can get there very simply by clicking the link below. It will take you straight to the website, where you'll be able to find this and many, many other vintage Star Wars items. And many other vintage toys, games, and collectibles come to that. There's over 10,000 products currently available on the website for you to view and purchase at your leisure. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button, because we're uploading videos for every new item that goes into the website. There will be something for everybody, and I am absolutely positive this is something that you're not going to want to miss, because we literally have thousands and thousands of new items which we're shooting videos for and uploading on a daily basis. So if there is something in particular you are looking for, something old you've never been able to find, something quirky that you might want to buy for a friend, or perhaps just something from your childhood that you'd like to own again to help you recuperate those long lost childhood memories, well, stay tuned, keep watching, because you never know, the next item we upload could be that item you've been looking for. Okay, that is it for me on this particular item. I do hope you've enjoyed reviewing this wonderful, wonderful vintage Star Wars Power of the Force action figure cinema scene set with me. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again next video. So bye for now.